Yeah.
Okay, hello, welcome to the Sticky Floor podcast. I am here with Sima
Hi.
and Callum
Howdy.
and Jack, but it goes by the captain.
All right.
You should have said ahoy. But
Uh,
today we are
can we do
talking
that
about-
again?
Yeah, fine. No, I'm joking, we can't. Night is Short, Walk On Girl. That's the film we're talking about today. It is directed by Masaki Yusa. Sorry if I am mispronouncing this guy's name. Okay. What's everyone's first thoughts? Simon, we'll ask you again. What do you think of it?
I loved it. I thought it was absolutely spectacular. Visually, it was stunning. I feel like I don't really have to emphasize that though. Like if you watch 5 seconds of it, you can kind of get that. It's absolutely beautiful. I loved the different kind of plot lines. I love films that have like disjointed plot lines that kind of like then go into like one narrative direction. I had a great time watching it. It made me nostalgic for like kind of like nights out again, where it was not just like going clubbing or drinking or anything, just like kind of going where the night takes you and stuff. I just had a really good time watching it. Yeah, that's kind of my overall.
Yes. I also got nostalgic, just for like the sense of childhood in this film. I fucking loved it too. Jack, what did you think of it?
Yeah, I thought. Pretty sure. I'm pretty sure I messaged you like while watching it, saying there's like moments I had to pause it because I just wanted to like scream. There's like insane moments in it that I don't know, just kind of like stick out and make it like really cute. And like rewatching it today added like a lot more appreciation for like everything's like thought out and how I don't know. They talk about in the movie like you always kind of like everything comes together, no matter how disjointed it may be or what way you can look at it, everything, kind of has a purpose. Like with the books, they talk about the books and all books influence each other and like everything in that story influences, I guess, the girl to end up getting to that one point. So like at the end when she's like, it must be fate, it kind of feels like fate.
Yeah.
Like within the movie. It's so good. It was great. And like the characters are all lovable. There's no one you can hate. There's no like bad person. I guess the pervert old man.
Yeah, he was a
Pervert.
bit hateful. We'll get into the characters in a bit. Callum, our resident optimist, what do you think?
What did I think? I'm still not quite sure because I only finished watching this film about half an hour ago. What did I think? It took me. I probably wasn't in the right. You know how there are certain films you have to be in the right mood for to see it.
Yes.
Blade Runner's a good example. So is Blade Runner 2049, and also a good example.
I think all movies are to an extent.
True, but then there's those kind of movies where you don't have to. It was a bit busy. Like it took me a while to sort of get into it because I wasn't quite sure what was happening because everything was happening at once, and I found it a bit difficult to keep up. It's been such a long time since. Well, it's not been that long a time, but I don't watch films with subtitles as often as I used to, so I found it a bit hard to keep up with what everyone was saying because of the pace it was moving at. There were so many characters and there were so many things, but then I started to get into it about the halfway point. Then I went out of it again, but then I went into it at the end. Yeah, I think it was enjoyable. I'm just not sure if I'd probably have to rewatch it just to completely appreciate it for what it was doing.
Yes, absolutely. I think if you just go with the flow of this kind of film, it's more like a dream. And the fucking like it is so hard to watch the subtitles and also see everything that's going on in the animation, but
going with the flow of it is like a theme of the movie as well, because it's what the girl does pretty much the entire fucking time. She just like goes and does whatever, goes where the wind takes her.
I'll just give a brief summation. So there's a guy called Senpai, and there's a lady, she's called the black-haired girl, and that's what she's credited as. And she, first of all, in the first 30 minutes, wants to go on a pub crawl, and he wants to bump into her accidentally, in quotation marks, of course. So this first 30 minutes, what do you think? Jack, what do you think?
I think I don't know. I think it's my least favorite section of it.
Well,
I still think it's good because of like the shit it kind of brings up and like the stuff it talks about with like age and the like passing of knowledge. And I think it's like the guy in that debate club. The whole point of the debate club is to like lie. What's it called? Like a
This,
sophority?
Sophistry.
Sophistry.
yes.
Yeah.
Sophistry.
Aye. I didn't know what that meant. It just means like lying and gaining nothing from it. So when the guy's like, you shouldn't marry for love, he's technically, I guess, going against it because he would get something from
Yeah.
it. He'd get the girl. But, and like, passing down knowledge and the whole thing about when you get older, everything's like, you're lonely. Because like that, I forget his name, the main villain of the show, the old guy, I forget his name, it's bad of me. Is like,
Tempo or whatever he was called.
I wrote it down. Hold on.
Which character? Because there was a few antagonistic characters.
The one that fights her in the drinking battle.
Yeah.
All right, Rihaku.
Aye.
Yeah,
That's the one. My man. Yeah, he's
Jumping ahead a bit.
He's always like I just guess he's the antagonist. I know because I'm trying not to do broad sweeps because we're talking about one section, but he's like the kind of like bad stuff, like the lone shark kind of controlling everyone, forcing people to be like unhappy. And then there's all stuff with him, like why he steals trousers and all that as well, which is something he does. I don't know. I feel like I'm rambling. If you want to move on to like someone else to like talk about it, you can do that.
One thing that I wasn't quite sure of at the beginning, and this is partly due to this being done in American English, I wasn't quite sure how old the main characters were because they said that they were at school, and Americans they talk about higher education and they call it school.
Yeah, it is college they're at.
Yeah, it is college that. So that wasn't quite sure of that to begin with. I mean, yeah, it was fine. It set up all the characters and what their deal was. We're also introduced to Underwear Boss and the school festival executive head, but it's a wee while before we come back to them in the storyline. So I kind of forgotten about them by the time we'd come back to them. So.
Oh.
And also, I wasn't quite sure when I started watching this what age group this was at, because I don't want to do broad sweeps, but from my kind of Western perspective, what the Japanese deem acceptable for children is, I'm never quite sure. A lot of drinking in this. I wasn't quite sure who this was aimed at, what the age group this was, but. Because I've watched quite a lot of Japanese, like animes, I should say, that have got a sort of surprising amount of kind of sexual content, despite the fact this is for a family film. This was no different. Like, there was the kind of usual sort of tit-grabbing stuff.
Is this for I don't think this is a family
I
film.
I don't think this is for a younger audience. I think this is for the audience that it represents as the kind of, college student years, at least.
I think it's like the Simpsons, where if you're young, you're not gonna get all the sexual stuff. You're just gonna be like,
right.
you know what I mean? You just like look at the colours, and you can still get something from it. It's one of those. I think it sweeps over all.
I mean, the tit guy, we should just get it out of the way. That's like the worst part of the film, and it's kind of. I'm pretty sure I watch a lot of anime, but I'm pretty sure that's a trope.
But
the old pair. Yeah.
It really introduces like the naivety of like, younger generation.
We should say
that
we should say that there are consequences for this tit grabbing.
Yeah.
It's not just like played off for laughs. She punches him in the face multiple times.
That happens all the time in anime, though. That happens all the time in anime. That's like such a trope.
It depends what anime.
Oh no, I'm not a weeb.
Like,
depends.
I don't know what weeb means.
Weeaboo.
Yeah, I still don't know what that is.
Clarify.
I've heard of it. I don't know what it is.
Me neither. What is a weeb?
A weeaboo is a person who denounces their own culture for anime culture, for like Japanese culture. So me as a premise, say I'm no longer Scottish, I'm Japanese, so I start being kind of racially insensitive and carrying samurai swords and kimonos everywhere I go. That's a weeaboo.
It's more just like a name for people who are really into anime and really cringy about it.
All right, so it's kind of like it's like an otaku, but it's the extreme of that.
I have no idea what an otaku is.
An otaku is the Japanese version of a weeaboo, I'm pretty sure.
No, a weeaboo is the Japanese version.
What? Is it? I thought, all right, okay.
Oh, weeaboo is like
a Westerner.
American. No. Yeah, a Westerner.
No, oh. Yeah, it's a Western. Cares? It's a Westerner being obsessed with Japanese culture.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
To the point of it being cringe. Okay. Yeah. Can I just finish my point? I'm going to say some very sweeping things about Japanese culture. If I get it wrong, please tell me in the comments.
Oh no!
Nobody comments and nobody watches this anyway, so it's not.
It's a good way to get cancelled.
But my own moral dignity.
Yeah.
Choose your words.
Japanese people, I know it's a stereotype, but it's true to say compared to other cultures, they're quite, reserved.
Yes.
Very quiet, not aggressive.
I'm
Obviously,
sorry. That whole idea of the more reserved, quiet kind of concept was it was pushed after World War II. That whole Hello Kitty fucking quiet bullshit is just part of propaganda. That stereotype is linked to the recharacterization of Japan. Yeah, I'm sorry. It needs to be said.
I think it is.
There's some truth to it. There's some truth to it.
It literally is. It's not. There's not some great debate about it. That's the image they've pushed forward since. It's not representative.
Are you sure? I'm sure. I'm not. Like I said, as I said before, I'm making some degree of broad sweeps, but I have watched sort of examples of that. You see their body language when they're on public transport or they're in certain places. Anyway, my point is that they're sort of the content.
CCTV footage.
Yes. My point is that Japanese sort of media, especially stuff that's aimed at a more younger audience, it's I appreciate that there's cultural differences, but and I'm not trying to sound prudish or anything, but it's kind of bizarre when you watch it just how violent and sexual some of it is. And I realised, obviously, there's lots and lots of anime that I've not watched or absorbed, and I appreciate that things have changed since I was into this sort of stuff. But a good example of this is, I remember seeing a guy in a documentary who was born in Japan, but he moved to Britain in his late adolescence, and he said that a show that he used to watch when he was 6, when he saw it in a video in a shop in the UK, it was an 18. Yeah, so
right.
I mean,
my kind of point of this is that we have to kind of appreciate how content of a more sort of suggestive nature is portrayed in sort of media for a kind of younger audience is going to be different for us. So that kind of makes me sort of always wonder never quite sure who this is aimed at when I watch something like this.
Yeah, well, let's get back to the film.
All right, nothing to add. No comments. Nobody got anything to say off that.
I think we'll go down a rabbit hole if we continue in that direction.
Yeah, fair. Well, I just want to say one thing. Like Mrs. Doubtfire back in the day used to be a 15, and now it's a PG. So I think we're a lot more harsh. It was a 15.
It was never a 15.
Back in the day, Cal.
I remember when Mrs. Doubtfire came out.
It was a 15, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't. It was a family film.
Yeah, 15. 15.
No, it wasn't a 15. It was never a 15.
Okay.
It was a family film.
I just looked it up. It was a 12.
Right, fine, but it wasn't a 15.
It wasn't 15. I'm sorry, I got it wrong. I had wrong source. Anyway. We can continue.
Yeah, I think this is the best pub crawl in cinema history. I mean, no offense to, I think The World's End, pretty good pub crawl, but nothing in compared to this.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of pub crawls in films. Well, like films where the pub crawl was the plot, although the kind of pub crawl bit stops after the first third of the film.
Yeah, it does. It feels much more like it's much more optimistic about drink, and you know, there's something always has to go wrong with someone drinking all that. The way she describes a cocktail as being such a good thing.
Yeah. And she's kind of got her alcohol tolerance is sort of well, it's a cartoon, I know that, but it's sort of like she doesn't seem to get drunk.
Yeah, good on her.
It's kind of like she gets to enjoy it for what it is. It's like, you know, she doesn't get hammered. She can enjoy her cocktails. Again, it's like childish naivety, being able to just enjoy something. And then that comes like back later when the guy's like, oh, it's just, you know, a fallacy, it's all fake. Soon you'll find like, you know, you can't fill the hole with like alcohol and you'll be alone. And she's like, I don't fucking care.
Is that what she says?
Is that what she says?
I'm paraphrasing.
Oh, right. Well, she doesn't take on board that.
That's I don't know. It just fits in with the theme of the first part of her just enjoying it. And you said the perv part is bad. I think it's great in showing that she's a really strong kind of character. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that because it shows that she's not just like this naive young girl. Like she is aware of like her surroundings and like is capable of defending herself, which is a nice change.
But
yeah, I mean, there's not
like I like that
really,
she's
well, there's not really any stakes in this film. Let's be clear. Like, it never
there
really
is for
gets
the main character.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for him, but we're talking about for her character. She just, like she says, we're saying she's her own girl. She like, you know, she's not naive or safe or.
Well, I'm saying she's not like naive.
I mean, is she? She kind of seems like she doesn't. Well, she does seem kind of naive. She seems very childlike. But like I was making the point,
childlike doesn't mean naive though. She has this kind of like blossoming positivity, but that the film combats that perspective of being naive. She's not naive. She's just optimistic about life.
Sure, but I was trying to make the point is that for her character, there aren't really any stakes, not properly. That kind of comes in the part of Senpai.
Well, she's won her book.
Who actually has something to overcome.
There are stakes. They're just not as high as the other guy. Yeah, there's.
Well, she wants a book.
Nah, but she forgets about the book.
Yeah,
she doesn't even. She just like moves on. She's like, oh, it'd be nice to get that, and then moves on from it.
She's got other things in her mind. She's taking her where the wind takes her.
See, just on the girl being naive or not being naive in the way that they've showed that through the creepy guy. As a storyteller, I'm sure this guy, I mean, look at the fucking film, he's obviously very imaginative. How could he not come up with a better way to show that she isn't naive or she is, you know, by showing this creepy guy groping her boobs?
Maybe he just wanted to punch a perv.
Well, the thing is, he comes up again in the film, so when you see this guy again, it's like, oh, this guy, I don't want to spend any time with him because he's, you know, a perv.
Well, he pops up time and time again. Like, again, him grabbing her boobs is not actually... I don't know, like, I'm trying to think how to put this. It's just kind of a running joke that he grabs boobs as well as being a kind of pathetic character, but he keeps coming back and back.
He's like the closest thing we have to like an entirely unsympathetic character, because even like the kind of villain character, you sympathize with him near the end. Whereas this guy, you're like, he's an old pathetic perv who just likes fish. Like nothing.
Porn. Don't forget that.
And porn, exactly. And he's like a fucking porn collector. Like he's a weirdo.
No, they're erotic carvings.
Oh no, print.
Print.
He doesn't have the
porn.
There's one of the prints.
I'm sure there's a distinction.
One of the prints is like a girl kissing a fucking octopus. There's like
hentai.
Old time tentacle hentai.
I don't remember that, but
no, it's just straight up hentai.
Yeah, I missed
also the the bar at the start, the fucking logo of the bar is the same as the girl walking in the startup fucking.
shit.
Yeah, it's pretty
That's
cool.
pretty cool. I didn't
So-
notice that.
No,
Well,
I mean,
like I'd watch again and watch like the beginning
Yeah,
part because then
definitely.
it's got like clocks and it's got like the white train and you're like, oh, and then there's all the stuff about trains as well, which we haven't really talked
Yeah.
about.
Let's talk about it. What about the trains?
It's like the old guy lives on a train. She like the first time you see her, kind of
Yeah.
out of her element, she's like she's beginning her journey. I've never
Yeah.
read the book, the Ratatata, whatever it's called, Ratatatam.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a real book?
Yeah, it's
The
a real book.
The train
It's-
book.
Yeah, I think it's by a French author.
It's by the guy that's made quite a lot of stuff. He made like, you know,
Yeah, the guy.
the 19th century stuff that was really big for a lot of philosophers.
Jules Verne?
I'll get
No.
back to you.
I've got it right here.
Marquis de Sade?
Benete Schroeder.
Okay, I don't know
Yes.
who it was.
Ah, right. Is that not you? And then
What?
Peter.
Tell me his
Nichol.
work.
Oh God, right. I've only got the book up. Let me look him up.
Anyway, whilst you're doing that, can I talk about the character of Senpai?
Yeah.
go on.
Right. I realise that he's the character who has the, like, as the point to any book in that really tedious screenwriting class we attended once, the point of every story is the character has to overcome something. So that's him. But his whole point is that I realise you're supposed to see him as sort of a tragic hero and he keeps coming up with obstacles and obstacles and it keeps going on and on. But he is, like, stalking her.
Yeah, I don't like him.
Like, yeah, I found it a bit like, I kind of wanted him to get the girl in the end just because all this shit kept happening. I'm like, oh God. You know what I mean? It's like a
Yeah.
Roadrunner. It's like in the Roadrunner cartoon. You kind of want Wile E. Coyote to catch the Roadrunner. Yeah, that kind of...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't a big fan of him as a character. He was quite pathetic. He was like stalking this random girl that he didn't know the name of. Like, he's just kind of like tucked his tail between his legs and fallen about everywhere. He's like madly in love. And then there's this whole really interesting debate near the end. I don't want to get too into it because we're not at that bit. And there's this whole really interesting kind of like fever dream debate he has, like whether or not he's actually like in love with her, whether or not he actually has feelings for her, and whether this is just all objectification. I feel like that would have been a really interesting direction to go in, but they didn't.
But
Yeah.
all the characters are like fucking. I like that. Like, one guy is creating a whole play to find a woman he saw once and an apple
Yeah.
fell on his head. You know what I mean? I know that's
Yeah.
later, but you're talking about like the main character like going out of his way to try and like make fate happen, like create
It's not
fate.
about making fate, it's an
But he-
obsession.
Yeah, because he feels he loves the girl, even though he doesn't know her. You know,
Which
he
is
feels.
creepy.
It's
Yeah,
a,
but
it's a
it's a
cartoon,
romantic.
so we can forgive it to some degree.
He's a
Like, I
romantic.
I
He's a
understand
weak
what they're trying to
character.
do, and there is moments at times I'm like, that is cute, but like overall, what I'm hearing in my own head is that's creepy and weird.
Yeah, well, the whole point at the end of the film is because he stops it and he just goes to a cafe by himself. Then fate is introduced and they meet each other.
No, he asks her to
No.
coffee.
Oh,
Yeah,
does he? All right, well, fucking
Yeah.
forget what I said.
Right. I know we're kind of... I think we can kind of just throw going plot point by plot point to the wind because there's
Yeah,
so
'cause it
many
all-
plot threads in this
Yeah.
film. We should just
Yeah,
talk
it all
about what
connects as
Possible.
well.
So I'm going to talk about the ending
Okay,
Yep.
All right.
right.
because it cottons on to what we were talking about right now. So at the end, they both simultaneously have the same thought. I'm going to ask them what they did last night. So when she asks him, he has to tell basically what he did last night was stalk her.
Well, it's
So
just by
funny
chance.
story.
No, it's
Yeah.
all by chance.
By
He
chance,
never-
absolute shit.
He goes two places, and then in
No,
the first
she-
first act, he just happens to bump into
No.
her.
It
And
is
she-
said multiple times by him in the beginning that she goes to places and he
No.
continues to hunt her down
But
like a
in the
stalker.
But in the movie, it's only
getting heated.
only in the movie is by chance she meets him in the first act and then punches him. That's by chance, right?
That was by chance.
He didn't plan that. That was an accidental thing.
Yeah,
and then
okay.
his friend, who's illegally looking out for everybody.
I love that character. The cross-dressing, like, evil genius. That was a great character.
It even fucking hints at him being the girl that the pants boss loves right at the beginning.
Yeah.
Because I didn't notice, but you see him with like the pole thing when it's talking about him like men chasing him, and it's like you're like, oh, cool. So, and then I knew it was a guy when he appeared. I was like, oh, it's gonna be a guy, and then Pants Boss was like, fuck, I don't care.
I completely forgot about the Underpants Boss's Apple story. Like, I didn't connect to me that the Apple girl in the play was who he was talking about, because, like, this is my point. Like, the way these plot threads bring up, I always kept forgetting about stuff, and I'm like, oh yeah. I always kept. There were so many callbacks.
Are you sure that's not like a problem within yourself?
I'm serious. This is my point. Was, like I said, I wasn't in the right mood to see this film.
Fair enough.
I watched it.
Fair. But there's so many parables. Parables. There's so many parallels. Like the play talking about the guy being locked up in a crazy castle, and then in the end he has the whole fucking dream where he's locking himself up to try and keep himself away from the princess or whatever. And then she has like an apple pendant in her hair, which is kind of like the apple just kind of fall. She's got an apple red dress. I don't know if I'm overthinking it at that point.
No, you're not. It's there's all this like, and there's that apple head thing that he almost knocks down on top of her without realizing.
That's a drama, and they mean good luck and like prosperity. I'm pretty sure they're like pretty big Japanese culture things. Like you see them if you go out for like, Japanese food, like in the corner, along with like the cat thing that's meant to bring money. They're meant to bring like good luck in that. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got one of those.
And then she like, I never got why they dress up as like, she dressed up as one of them, but I didn't realize the guy's dress, that it kind of looked like a drama doll as well. Yeah. So they just got like more and more needy and just straight up dressed her up as drama doll.
Did anybody think at the bit where the play happened, where he storms the stage and he gets knocked off, and then get realised that the Apple Girl is actually the fucking, what's he called?
Guy.
Yeah,
the chief editor man.
And then the funeral
operations.
Yeah, and then the funeral director confesses her love for the Apple boss, and I kind of thought that's where the film was going to end, and because everything was coming together, all the plot threads, and then there was
Did
this.
Did you just call her the funeral director? Sorry.
No, did I? I meant to say the director of the play, the red-haired girl.
Yeah.
Oh, this is brilliant.
And then there was this cold thing where she was going through Africa. I'm like, oh, what's happening now? I don't get this. Why is this happening now? I thought Then I realised what was going on when she was saying the thing to the Rihaku guy or Rikahu guy about how his code connects everybody. But yeah, because right before the play starts and they explain, you kind of realise that this whole what was the play supposed to be called? The something king?
Oh, the eclectic, eccentric,
no. Eccentric king.
Yeah.
And they talk about how they keep getting separated, or something keeps keeping them apart, but she accepts them in the end, and you realise, okay, this is supposed to be like Sinjai, what's he called?
Senpai,
which just means senior, and her name is Kenpai or Henpai or something, which means junior.
Yeah.
No, she doesn't have. I don't think they ever.
Yeah. Well, no, neither of them actually have names, but that's just what they were referred to.
Yeah, she's referred to as junior at times.
Is she?
Yes.
I don't remember that. I remember her being called the black-haired girl, which is
I don't remember as junior.
I don't remember her being called junior. Who calls her junior?
I can't remember, but it says it on Wikipedia.
So. Yeah, it says on Wikipedia.
I can't argue with that. Fair enough.
Yeah. So yeah, I know the film's only an hour and a half, but I felt like maybe it kind of dragged a little bit. Like,
So after
I
all
could have
the
I could have watched
after,
it for 5 hours. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was so immersed in it. I loved every second.
yeah,
I was having the time of my fucking life.
The director.
Maybe I've just lost all joy. That's the problem.
You're
I
the
don't have that.
old guy. You're the
Yeah,
old guy in the drinking competition.
Yeah, how dare you? Oh, sorry. Fine. I thought you. Okay. I thought you meant I was like the tit grabber, but no.
Oh god.
Yeah. No. It was. Let's talk about the animation.
Right.
Nice.
Talk about the animation. I was looking up I've seen movies from the studio before, and I'd very much recommend Lou Over the Wall, because it's like the same kind of like freestyle, and has like moments of like really beautiful like animation. God, I love in the film, right? Just to completely divert from what I just said there. The bit when she's like, it's like she's dreaming. I don't know if it's like she's imagining, but like the parts where the animation change and gets like really simple.
Yeah.
I really love those fucking moments.
Yeah, I mean the art style itself was pretty well. I'm not saying simple in a bad way, but it was kind of. I don't know. I'm talking. Do you not feel like just the way the characters were drawn, which is not kind of from the anime I'm used to seeing, which it had almost a kind of
highbrow anime.
Yeah. How can I describe it? I felt like it had an almost European sort of art style. I don't mean in terms of the animation, but in terms of the way the characters were drawn. Does that resonate with anybody?
I do understand what you're saying. I think it's just a less kind of stereotypical kind of animes. It wasn't an anime, it's just an animated Japanese film. I feel like there's a distinction between those two kind of like concepts. You get what I mean?
Just what an anime is, because before the term anime was ubiquitous, people just called it Japanese animation or Japanese cartoons.
I don't know.
I think it's just a mastermind.
Yeah, a style of Japanese film or television animation. That's the definition.
Yeah, so it's like a specific style.
Okay.
No, no, because that man has the Misaki, the director, has his own style completely compared to other shows, which makes it unique.
The way the characters moved, and there's a certain choppiness I find with anime. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I felt that I'm not saying the animation itself wasn't like what I've seen. I'm just more talking about specifically the art style.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah, but, it was really unique. Like there was the dance, what's the dance called?
Sophistry dance.
Sophistry dance, which was great.
Yeah, that was mental.
Yeah.
I found the sophistry characters. That was just like, sorry, what's happening? Where are we now? Who are these people? Who's Rico? Have we seen him already?
They're just going along with it.
It's just ships passing in the night, man. You just gotta go with the flow. It's great.
Oh.
Free drinks, man.
Free drinks.
They need to pay. You just gotta be around all these people. Look, it's so. But I guess that's like a night out. You just bump into people that you don't know. You never meet them again. You just kind of you breeze over really, parts of like you don't know their life. They just appear and then like disappear.
Exactly.
Daniel, I have a question for you.
Shoot.
Yeah, how did you come to this film?
I think it was just on Netflix, and
I didn't have you as an anime watcher type.
Mate, I don't watch any anime. Like this is literally one of the only anime movies that I've watched, and
not even a bit of like Ghibli.
Well, yeah, but does that count? Because everyone's seen that,
It does count.
All right,
so
but then other than that.
Okay. What have I watched? In fact, I rewatched them not too long ago, and I really enjoyed it. In fact, I was going to actually maybe recommend it for this. what's it called? The heist film. The Castle of Cagliostro.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Seen that?
Yeah.
That's good.
That's a lot of fun. That film. If you haven't seen it, well, it looks like all of you have seen it. Yeah, that's a lot of fun. That film.
It's like Miyazaki, like one of his first. I'm pretty sure.
Wow. Wani's first. All right. Well, what do you think about this spicy food competition? Like, see the animation with the lips getting bigger.
Yeah, that was a bit. I think that was the only bit in the.
I actually really liked that scene. I liked how, as each thing they got, the things they picked out with their chopsticks just got madder and madder to sort of symbolise how much harder it was getting to eat.
I did love that scene. I thought it was absolutely brilliant, and like the just
say it.
Maybe the animation on the lips was just a little bit.
They're eating spicy food.
A little bit. What? I don't get it.
Are you trying to say that it was racist?
I'm not saying it's racist. I'm saying it's.
Gotta bring race into everything, then.
Shut the fuck up.
Anyway,
let
her explain. Let's shush, Ollie, shush. Simon, explain. Everybody mute.
It's like the wafting smell of kind of the Japanese racism towards black people with the kind of massive.
They're not black. There's none to do with black people.
I was actually
large lips are just a little bit
on black characters, yes.
Okay,
they're eating spicy food.
I'm not saying it's racist. I'm saying there is influence. That's all. I'm just pointing out what I saw, and I felt slightly uncomfortable by it. That's all. Okay.
Can I give my two? Can I give my 2 pence?
Yeah.
Fine.
Okay. I am perfectly aware of the fact that in anime there's some famous. I don't know if it happens so much, but then again, I don't watch anime regularly. Like, way black characters are drawn. It's a bit like with massive lips. Mr. Popo from Dragon Ball Z is probably the most famous example.
Yeah.
Well, no, that character's just that character. But I think in this instance, this wasn't. They were. I think their lips expanding had nothing to do with.
Yeah, I don't think there's any intention to be racist. I don't think it is racist. It just has undertones. That's all it is.
Don't think it does.
It has.
Absolutely no undertones whatsoever.
Just because, okay, right, maybe I'm reaching, but I just felt slightly uncomfortable. That's all.
And you watch it and you're like, okay, someone's gonna say something about it.
That didn't even faze me at all. I just thought that was just their body reacting to the spicy magical broth.
And my lips don't explode when I eat hot noodles.
Yeah, because you can eat the hell fire. You can eat the fires from hell. It doesn't matter. Your fucking spicy shit burns your lips, and they're like.
Yeah, it makes you. I don't know. Like,
maybe it's just my experience then.
Reaching out. Come on.
Anyway, so that's that covered.
Well,
I'm glad we had that discussion.
Yeah.
Well, it's like bring it back to that old guy. He's the one that owns all the books.
Yes.
And every time it's like a youth stopping him and releasing.
That's true. Have you noticed the thing with the time, like the way time works in this movie, the way it watches?
And the kind of discussion about everyone on their own kind of different time scale. I love that.
Even on the watches
I forgot about that. That is very true.
Yeah, that was just fucking brilliant. And I loved kind of, not to jump about again, but see the bit where he's like, has his calls and the clocks are like fucking rapid everywhere and surrounded by it. That was just fucking brilliant, that.
Right. You got to live life. You've got to fill your own time with doing stuff. You got to work hard.
Yeah.
You got to live life. You know what I mean? Because if you just, sit around and waste away things, time just goes rapid.
It seems the only character that didn't have like a really fast watch going was the black-haired girl.
Yeah, I think that's the point. She represents that kind of like youthful embodiment of life. That's kind of what she's there to like represent in the film. Optimism and a love of living.
I thought it was to do with age and how when you get older, you feel time passes faster. You know.
Yeah. Well, I mean that is true. That is true, but part of that is just because you have to fill that time.
Well, you've got to fill it when you're younger, I guess, which is what she's doing. And I guess she fills it. So I don't know, but then everyone's filling it. It never goes back.
Well, they weren't to begin with because they were just sort of sitting around the table, just being miserable. And then she comes in.
But it never shows you their watches slowing down. You know,
That's because they never go back to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
we do see like fucking ye old man. His clocks go back.
Oh,
I'm not sure he's even a character. I think he's just a metaphor.
Well, he's like a supernatural being.
Isn't he meant to be like a spirit of some kind?
Yeah, that's what it says in Wikipedia.
Yes.
I think he's just a metaphor for like growing up and like how you hoard stuff and fucking you just become pessimistic.
Yeah, another victim of capitalism.
Well, he fucking reaping the rewards of capitalism. He's taking money from everyone else,
and he still can't find his own. He still can't find his own love.
That's true. What they say about collectors.
He pays for love. It's fine.
I've dipped
but he's not happy.
I've tried to dip myself from time to time in the collector game, but it's pretty cutthroat. But it's true. They do kind of hoard all the good stuff.
Were you a Beanie Baby collector?
No, God, no.
It was Pokemon cards. Come on, Simon.
Oh.
No, Pokemon cards and Beanie Babies were at the same time of my
What? So what was it then?
What? No. Okay, it was just kind of more kind of like kind of obscure books or records or stuff. Like I tried to sort of, but then I just kind of, it's just you got to travel about and you got to find stuff and it's so expensive and I just thought, oh, fuck, this can't be arsed.
Fuck that. Like everything tainted by the elite.
It's not even by the elite.
Or
it's
the
just
old.
By people like myself.
Even worse.
Yeah. The old just keep all their shit and hoard it because if you get rid of it.
Sorry, continue.
Well, nah,
I don't like this ageism. I don't appreciate this ageism slang.
I'm sorry you have to do it, Callum. It's just a theme in the movie. Don't take it to heart. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's nothing personal.
Well, no. Although it was never shown with their clocks being slowed down at all, you do feel that they probably were through their interactions with the girl with the black hair. She kind of instills everyone.
You feel that they were what?
I think it's just an age thing. I don't think it's anything about optimism or like pessimism. No,
well, I think it's a bit of both. It's about it's just about living life basically, and like I said. But it is also
about
true.
Loneliness and that as well.
People often say, and it's true, but then it also depends on how you use it. Like your 20s go by a lot quicker.
Oh Christ!
No, but I mean, we can talk about that maybe at our time. But yeah.
That can be like.
Anyway, I feel like we've said all we can on the time stuff.
Another theme we can talk about, I guess, is chance or coincidences, because that's why they sing.
That's the thing is there is, apart from the bit where she kicks him or punches him, there are no coincidences because it's
the book fair. They didn't know each other at the book fair. Like they didn't know they were going to be there at the same time. That's another one.
The apple falling on the head.
Okay, fine. He kind of gets waylaid a couple of times, but then once. Sorry. Go.
Sorry, the film is about kind of how chance doesn't really exist, but it does, and everything is connected. That's the kind of that's it. Like everything is connected through people and chance, and
what people on drugs talk like. How everything's connected, but it really isn't, and
everything is connected. Everything is connected. There's no such thing as a coincidence. We are living in a sentient fucking concept, and that's what the film's about.
I agree with you.
No.
Aren't there sometimes coincidences?
No.
No, you don't.
I don't believe in that. I don't believe in a lot, but I don't believe in that.
I mean, I don't believe in chance in the sense that it's like this cosmic force, but I mean, sometimes things, funnily enough, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I agree with that.
What do you think the director's saying, and do you think he doesn't believe in chance? Or he does?
I don't know. I was struggling to work
Everything's
out
kind
what
of
the
like
characters were saying.
Yeah.
everything's just
Oh.
like kind of connected through people. Like actions
Yeah.
happen because of people. There's no such thing as like, oh my god, wow, this everything is sort of not necessarily planned, but like
Well,
actions are connected.
Every
through
action
other
has a
people.
reaction.
Yeah, that.
But what? Even the girl thinking that they're meeting with Senpai's chance turns out to be, a fallacy.
Yeah, which
So,
makes
like-
their whole love story kind of shite.
Yeah, because he's a stalker.
Yeah,
Sweet stalker.
She has this lovely fantasy of bumping into him and like, oh my god, like it's such a coincidence. This is so cute, and it's not, because he's just a weirdo.
But he's not doing it for nefarious reasons.
well, he's doing it for
Well,
selfish
yeah.
reasons.
What do
Yeah,
you?
he's doing it to.
What do
to
you call
follow-
it? A nefarious reason?
I don't call love
Well,
nefarious. Or
It's
what
not
he.
love, it's obsession. It's so clearly obsession.
Yeah,
Eh, but then if you're talking about
Yeah,
his obsession,
like
I feel
fatal
everyone
attraction.
else's. It's like,
Yeah.
I guess obsession is also another fucking theme of the movie then, because it's like obsession with
Yeah.
books,
Well,
obsession with
Oh,
like
that's a film we
people.
should watch. Obsessed.
what one? There's quite a
The
few.
one where Idris Elba and Beyonce are broken up by the evil, crazy white lady.
That sounds
I did.
brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've not seen that, but I've seen Obsession, the 1930s Italian
it's
film. Brilliant.
All right. I think it's maybe called Obsessed. I don't know. It's a terrible film, but it's worth a laugh.
It sounds brilliant.
We've probably, I don't think we've talked about like the best part of this film, at least for me, in much
Okay.
detail. The singing, the 10-minute singing sequence. Oh my god! First
It
time
was
I
good.
seen it, I was
It
like,
was a
"Is
shame
this
that the
what cinema is?"
translation didn't rhyme, but that's fair enough. But that's inevitable, isn't it? Different language.
Yeah.
It's like watching Japanese rap, and then like reading the subtitles of it. It's kind of disappointing.
I don't watch too much Japanese.
All right, so it's like watching Japanese singing and then hearing the translation.
Yeah, and then you're like, oh.
So it's
Okay.
the exact
So it's
same
the
thing
same.
then.
Nah, like you can hear it, and like the way they say it kind of like rhymes, but when you like translate it, I guess then it
Yeah,
doesn't
it does
really
rhyme because it rhymes in their language.
Yeah, but then you read it and you're like, oh, that's pretty disappointing that it doesn't rhyme. I don't know.
Okay. Anyway, so now, see, when I watched that singing sequence, I did have like a serious, like one of those moments when you watch a film, you're like, this is what cinema is. I can't believe that this is actually what you can do with a film. It was mad.
What singing part are we talking?
Well,
Like the
we're talking
really
about both
long
bits.
bit.
There's the first part, and she's like got a big ladle of
doll.
food.
Yeah.
And
The
then
blob
there's
doll.
a sex doll there.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. I found that I thought, oh god, that tune sounds familiar, but then I suppose it just sounds like generic musical music. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it all, and I liked how.
Jack, are you okay?
I was trying to think of what the fucking ladle you were talking about, but no, it came back to me.
There was a bit as well near the end that there was a line from the underwear that made me laugh. I actually laughed quite a few times, which is very rare.
Yeah, it's really funny.
I haven't laughed in years. I'm joking. But I wish I could remember the line now. I should have wrote it down. But
Was it in the song?
Yes, it was in the song.
Right. There's lots of funny lines in them.
Yeah. I don't know if we've got anything else to Daniel. I mean,
yes. Well, we've not talked about the 10 minutes singing sequence. I mean, that's fucking mental. The way that the unveiling of the director of the school festival operations, the way he's chasing down the music.
I feel like we already did talk about that.
Yeah, no, I'm going to expand on it. The way that they use him to, like, it's just a plot device to fucking follow this musical band around. And it's quite funny how they had all those like women in jail for just like being musical theatre actors.
as it should be, frankly.
Yeah, sure. Just the idea of the police chasing a musical theatre group is really funny
too. They weren't even the police. They were like
high school security.
Yeah.
Yeah, or like college union representatives.
Even better.
They were like student reps.
Hunting the drama kids. Honestly, it's great. It's a fantasy of mine for that to happen.
Yeah.
They were like a fucking terrorist group, were they not?
Yeah, I'm
fucking
like
theatre terrorists.
Drama kids are a terrorist group.
Oh no. Right. So
you could talk about the theme of love as well, because that's a huge.
What do you think about it?
Because that's like
here. What do you think about the theme of love?
What, in general or in respect to this film?
In general. No, respect to this film.
I mean, but that's it. There's not really any. I don't know. Like, I don't really think this is.
What do you mean by that, Jack?
Pardon?
The theme of love. What do you mean? Because I didn't pick up on that too much.
Really? That's what the play's about, and how like he doesn't really, care.
Are you talking
who
about the Underwear Kings arc?
Well, there's love, like, I guess, kind of like all around. How like the guy in the first from that fucking debate club is like how you should marry people you don't love, because you can keep focused on the things that matter. And when your husband cheats on you, you won't be sad because you don't love him. And it's like, all right, bit twisted. Like you got like a twisted like view on love, and then you got like a romantic guy who's just like, I don't care if you're male or female. It was the meaning of fate and the apple falling on our head.
That kind of comes to a climax with the scene where he's in his own head and he's having all these thoughts about whether or not he actually is a creep and where he's not. That's such a great moment too, and it's actually kind of shaped like
fever dream bit.
Yeah, mental. What do you guys think about the dream?
I wasn't quite sure. I'm like, because I wasn't sure. So is this happening in the real world? Is this happening within the reality of the thing? Because obviously, the reality of this setting is all over the place. So, but then it's a dream. It's a dream. Okay, yeah, it was all right. It was
cowboys fighting.
I kind of agree with Simon. I kind of like him sort of questioning his own intentions, having a bit of.
I think it would have been more interesting if they'd continued in that direction. But the fever dream in itself, I thought was excellent. I loved the kind of like change in kind of animation again, and I loved the kind of like internal debate, like the personification of his internal debate. I thought that was great. I loved that sequence. I loved like the kind of the way it kind of melded into the real universe of her like fighting through the wind to get to him, and how it became more and more stylized to the point where it's clearly in its head. I loved that. I thought it was excellent. The cowboys, they were great. It was all just gold. It was just gold.
It's like she keeps like feeding him as well, like throughout. It's like feeding his ego to like make him back off.
What did the cowboys? What was that supposed to represent? Sorry,
his like childhood, his childhood nature, and he's like trying to be fucking.
The cowboy versus the farmer argument.
Don't know that.
Well, there's this kind of like hypothetical question: be the cowboy or be the farmer? I think it's the farmer. I might be wrong. Stay at home, stay safe, kind of live like a content life but don't go out of your comfort box, or be the cowboy and venture outward and risk it and kind of be out there. I thought it was supposed to kind of represent that. I might be reading too much into it though.
Oh, I forget about that. I forgot about that conversation.
Yeah, I just thought it was more between like childhood and adulthood, and that was like clashing.
Yeah,
that's what I thought.
Yeah, because he was talking about how, he's got no savings, he's not done well in his college, he's kind of it's hard to survive in the real world when you've got nothing, which is a pretty obvious statement.
Bye.
I like the apex.
Anyway.
Oh, sorry. Of like the inner argument when it's like there's no other voices apart from the main voice, and he's like, "So what? I should accept that maybe I'm a bit, the vanity is like, maybe I'm not as good a person, but I should just like fucking man up and like talk to her anyway." And he has like that really strong moment of like, shut the fuck up, just do it anyway. And then they accidentally press the button for like the defense. It's not like intentional. It just happens, and then he loses it.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's come to that point in the show where we give our final thoughts. Callum.
Very well animated, but for me personally, I'd have to watch it again. But a bit confusing for me. I'd have to watch it again.
Cool. Jack?
Loved it. Better on a second watch because you pick up all the small stuff. Do I give a score?
Yeah.
If you like.
8 out of 10. I'll just give a score. 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10.
That's pretty strong.
Yeah.
Thanks, solid.
Simon?
Absolutely loved it. Made me oddly nostalgic for London for some reason. It was great. Happily watch it again.
Why would you be nostalgic for London?
I don't know. Anywhere but Glasgow is currently very enticing.
Not London.
Yeah. Absolutely loved it. Would happily watch it again. Definitely my favourite film I've seen this year so far. Even though it was the first month.
What's it out of 10?
22 days in.
I'm 8.5. Yeah.
8.5.
Can I give a score? You never asked me.
No. Okay, and my final thoughts in the film. Well, I'm getting Callum. When you go,
I'll give it 3 out of 5 grab boobs.
Okay, cool. I thought this was a feminist masterpiece, and yeah, great. What did we watch this week? Who wants to go first?
I've watched a few things. I tried and gave up about 20 minutes in to rewatch the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man film. That film's not aged very well. I forgot how campy it was, but it didn't seem that campy to me when I was 11. But yeah, it's not
really.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
I mean, I always, even when I saw it at the time, I felt there's something about this that's a bit unsatisfying. But yeah, it's a shame not aged that well.
That's unsatisfying.
Well, I don't know. It's just I felt like with the talent they had, because I feel like what do you call him? Him with the scary face, Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe.
Like,
him with the scary face.
I thought he was brilliant in that film. I think he was the best part.
I don't know, just the lines and just how it's just so cheesy. Like
a bit of superhero cheese goes a long way, man.
I don't know, like you've got to remember 6 years later we had Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight, which sort of showed what you can do with a supervillain role.
Aye, but the second Spider-Man
is better.
Has a good
villain. And Kirsten Dunst is terrible in all of them, but that's not her fault. That's the writing.
Yeah.
What? Can I? No, that's it. That's all I've got to say.
Okay, nice one. Who would like to go next? I'm gonna go to Jasima.
Wow.
Nice.
I recently finished. I recently finished the new Netflix series Bridgerton, and I have a lot of thoughts about it, especially in terms of costume accuracy, because it was abysmal in that department. But I won't bore you with that. It was complete and utter trash. Like, it's essentially Gossip Girl, but Regency era. I don't know. I've never seen Gossip Girl actually, but I assume this is what it's like. It was interesting. And I'm definitely gonna continue to watch it because it's kind of like so bad it's good. But yeah, that's the thing that sticks out the most to me currently, in terms of what I've been watching.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. And Jack?
Been watching fucking forgot the name of it. Twin Peaks.
Oh
yeah. I've always wanted to watch Twin Peaks.
That's
Never got
so
around.
good.
It's really weird. It wasn't what I was expecting.
That's
Like,
the point.
What did you
Yeah,
expect?
I
It's
don't know.
Lynch.
Don't ruin anything for me, by the way.
The main character is like so likably weird, and I don't. It as like the best way to like explain every character in the entire show.
Yeah, that's the
It-
point.
It's very. And then I don't know. I won't say anything else because it's very good. And you start off and you're like, I don't know where it's gonna go, and then pretty much at the end you're like, what has happened? It's very good.
Very
And
cool.
Rave
it's very
reviews.
good. It's very good. I watched it in like 3 days, so it all becomes like one episode and try to think of like certain points. But it's very good. Also, there's plenty of good Korean horror TV shows and like Japanese thriller TV shows on Netflix. One I'd recommend, which is okay, is called I think it's like Hell is Your Neighbor, or Your Neighbors Are Hell, something like that. People Are Hell. It's kind of something along those lines. It's very good.
Just for that recommendation.
Is it perhaps hell is other people?
Hell is Other People.
Like the infamous quote.
That's it. I didn't know it was an infamous quote. They say it in the movie and it's like, oh, there's the title. But it's fun. It's very good. Very good.
Mm.
Forgot the
Okay.
name of it, but yeah.
Isn't it good when they say the title in films?
Yeah. Ooh.
I'm pretty sure
Always
there's like a club where you go to the cinema and wait for the movie title to be said, and then they just get up and clap and leave.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate that. I hate that.
I'll always be
Clap.
Superman 4, The Quest for Peace. That was my favourite bit.
Christ.
Cool.
Anyway, Daniel,
I watched the. Sorry, what, Cal?
what are you watching?
Gonna repeat that? I got lost in your eyes for a second.
I'm asking you what you're about to tell us. What did you watch?
Okay, I watched the film Metropolitan 1990, sorry, Whit Stillman. It's a very funny look at the bourgeoisie of New York, or the middle class of New York in the 90s. Kind of like a film that we watched called Riot Club, but it's actually good. It's an actually funny and poignant and really just, not a bad film. Kind of like...
Is it poignant? Because remember, you didn't actually know what poignant meant.
No. I know what it means now. Yeah, poignant. It means it's got a point. Okay.
No, it doesn't. Remember, that wasn't...
I know, I was joking. But Metropolitan has this really sad, dour tone to it throughout the entire film that's made funny by these really silly comments that they all make. Like, there's one comment I fucking love in it, and one of the characters says they're talking about cinema and they're saying surrealists are just social climbers. I thought that was really funny. Maybe you need to be there and you need to watch it. But thanks so much for coming on, Jack. It's really been
it's been a pleasure. Yeah, cheers for having me.
Callum and Simon. Oh, sorry, on you go.
I was just going to say, especially for a good movie. If it was a bad film, it would have been a bit tougher. But cheers for having me on for an actual fun film to talk about, I guess.
Bad films can be fun to talk about.
Yeah, they're great.
But not like thematically. It's kind of what I was getting into about that film.
Yeah, you give some great analysis.
Oh, it's what you brought me on for.
Yeah.
Great analysis. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's been good fun. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Well,
fantastic.
Do you have an outro?
Yeah, we usually all say goodbye in a different language. Simon.
Bye.
Oh, I'm lucky.
That's English. Callum.
Cheery bye the now.
And Captain.
Gods.
Hold on. Can you go and then I'll...
Just say au revoir. That one's easy.
Sayonara.
Sayonara.
That's meant to be Japanese, though. That was meant to be part of the theme. Japanese animated movies? Sayonara. Anyway, sorry. I broke cohesion. You can say goodbye now.
See you later.
Au revoir.
Okay, stop recording, please.